You are listening to the Purdue Report with Jake Dunn, every week on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Welcome, Purdue fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for a special edition of the Purdue Report with Jake Dunn. I'm joined by Jake Dunn right now here to talk a little Purdue baseball, and then we're going to be joined by Boilermaker play-by-play guy Kyle Charters talking about Purdue baseball, which doesn't get a lot of talk around the state of Indiana. But Jake, this year they got off to a really good start, and they kind of made us pay attention from the beginning.
Yes, they did. They had some good wins against Baylor, ranked Oregon State. They're ranked number 11 time they played. Also, to start the conference season here, got a win against Oregon back in March. So that they've played and beaten some really good teams. They beat Ohio State since the first time since I think the invention of the World Wide Web. So they've had a really good season here so far. They've still got work to do for sure. To get themselves in a great spot for the NCAA tournament and the Big Ten tournament. If they can take care of business against Indiana and Iowa, as well as they play at Ball State in between there, certainly got to putting themselves in a great spot.
I think they won 5 consecutive series at one time and were 4th place in the Big Ten most of the season to this point. Now they're 5th after they got swept at USC, but even in that series, they were competitive for all 3 games, and just rare that I have been drawn into a Purdue baseball season, but I really have been this year.
To your point, one of the first seasons where it's actually kind of been worth paying attention to because the team's been really good. They've only made the NCAA tournament a couple other times in history. Hopefully they can do it again here, and excited to see what Kyle has to say about the team.
And starting tomorrow, big series against IU in West Lafayette, and we're expecting a sweep, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And we welcome in his Central Indiana Sports Report debut, Kyle Charters, the Purdue baseball play-by-play for the last 22 years. Kyle, I am a huge Purdue fan, have been since I was a little kid, and about once a year I look to see how the Purdue baseball team is doing, and almost every year I say, well, that's not worth bothering. But this year's been a lot different. Tell us a little about this Purdue baseball team making history this year.
Yeah, Purdue's playing well. And, the reality is Purdue's had good records the last few seasons. But I think this one feels a little bit different in that Purdue is not only playing well and winning, but it has some real signature wins to this season also, which has put it in a position to be in the conversation for the NCAA tournament. And, that has not happened tremendously frequently in Purdue's baseball history. So to be in that position, I think speaks to the job that Greg Goff and company have done this season. But Purdue's playing well. Its offense is great. It's been fun to watch. The pitching staff has really come together. I think it meshes well. It throws strikes. It works quickly. It does all the things as a baseball fan that you love to see a pitching staff do. So it's been a fun season, and Purdue is has sweeps in 3 of the last 4 weekends. Now, that 4th weekend, it did get swept at a very good USC team, which is really good at home. But Purdue's playing well, and it'll be an exciting last couple of weeks of the season.
Is this something we saw coming? Is this something that was expected?
I don't think to this level. I think that Purdue thought that it was better than what the preseason projections were. The preseason projection was not great. I think it was 16th out of the 17-team Big Ten. I think that Purdue thought it was better than that. I think that I probably thought it was a little bit better than that, with a team that could compete for a Big Ten tournament slot and be one of those 12 teams that gets to Omaha for the conference tourney. I did not anticipate that it would be, battling for one of those 4 byes in the tournament and on the verge of an NCAA tournament bid. So it has exceeded at least my expectations. I don't know if it's exceeded Purdue's. But the nice thing about this Purdue team is that the players believe that they can win. They think they can beat anybody anywhere. And oftentimes with teams, especially in baseball, I think it's just about belief, right? And confidence and feeling like you can go win a baseball game. And so this team, I think early in the season had success. It beat Baylor. It came back and beat Baylor. It beat Oregon State, in the second weekend of the year. It played a very good Portland team in the first weekend of the year and took 2 of 3. Took one game from Oregon in the opening weekend of the Big Ten season. So while you lose that series, I think you show yourself that you can compete against a top 25 team. And so I think that Purdue just had a lot of confidence, and that has been building throughout the season. And then you've gotten star performances from some guys. Purdue is one of those teams, I know it's a little bit cliche to say, but it's the sum of its parts, right? I mean, I think if you took each one of those individual parts, there's no like first round draft pick on this team. There might not even be a top 10 round draft pick on this team, but they have a lot of really good gamers and guys who grind and work hard and how to play the game and those type of things. So it just has been a squad that has really meshed well, and they've got a good offense, and the pitching and particularly the bullpen has been much better than anticipated. And I think those are the reasons why Purdue's winning games.
Kyle, like Greg, huge Purdue fan, graduated from Purdue, but just don't really pay much attention to baseball outside of following them on social media and stuff like that. For our listeners who may not know, how does the Big Ten tournament work? Because I know there's kind of a funky setup with that a little bit. So could you kind of walk us through what that looks like, and then also like if Purdue needs to kind of, I know they're kind of on the bubble right now, to make the NCAA tournament. Maybe kind of give a preview here of the rest of the season and what Purdue needs to do to finish the regular season and maybe in Omaha for the Big Ten tournament to solidify their spot in the tournament.
Well, let's start with that question first. I think that Purdue's path to getting in the NCAA tournament is likely to win this series and the series at Iowa. So beat Indiana 2 out of 3, take 2 out of 3 against Iowa, which is actually at the AAA Park in Des Moines.
Oh, wow.
If you can do that and then win a game or two in the first part of the Big Ten tournament, I think you have a real good opportunity. You will at least be in the conversation if that happens. You need to not slip up. There's the game at Ball State. Ball State's having a little bit of a down year this year in a midweek next week. You don't want to slip up in that game and take a bad loss this late in the season. So I think that is important as well. But I think there is a path there. Michigan is playing really well here recently also. So if you start to, and I know the committee will tell you it doesn't do this. I don't believe it, to be honest with you, that they look at things from a conference point of view, right? 4 teams from the Big Ten are going to make it in. UCLA, clearly it's the best team in the country, maybe one of the best teams all time in college baseball. USC, Oregon, and Nebraska are in. Michigan is playing really well lately and probably now has a slightly better resume than Purdue. Will the NCAA committee take 6 teams then from the Big Ten, or does Purdue have to find enough to get back ahead of Michigan and be that next team up from the Big Ten? I know the NCAA will tell you, well, we're just looking at teams and not their conference as well. I don't believe you. I think that there is sort of a cap on what the NCAA committee would take from the Big Ten. So I think that is a little bit of something to watch for is Michigan. If Michigan,
so we need Michigan to lose as well as Purdue winning.
I
can do that.
I personally think that would be helpful to Purdue's resume is watching Michigan.
We always like to lose.
Yeah. Not hard to cheer against Michigan for some. Big Ten tournament's format has changed, so hopefully I can get this right. It's changed a couple of times over the years, but this is the most significant of the changes. 12 teams make the field. 4 teams get a bye. Those seeded 5 through 12 are in a double elimination bracket Tuesday through Thursday. Those teams compete until the field is reduced to 4, I believe. And then those teams join the other 4 in a single elimination tournament to join the bracket, to join the single elimination to be the auto bid to the NCAA tournament to crown a champion. I think if you're, to sort of wrap all this up a little bit, if you're Purdue and you can win back-to-back series against Indiana, Iowa, and then advance to that second Big Ten tournament, the single elimination top 8 tournament, I think I think you got a good chance to be certainly in the conversation. And I think at that point you would have a good chance of being one of the last 4 teams in. And I think Purdue can beat teams. Like, I think if Purdue gets in the tournament, it can win. It can win in the tournament. Now, is it going to get to Omaha? I mean, that would be a surprise for sure. But I think Purdue could win a game in the tournament. It has beaten NCAA tournament quality teams. And if it gets on a roll, could it win more than one game? Perhaps it could. But it's got to get there. It's still got some work to do.
I need you to stop talking about winning 2 out of 3 against IU because that's a sweep. That's a sweep if ever there was.
I think Indiana is talented. I don't know why their record is where it is. So to me, it's a concerning series because Indiana recently has had success against Purdue. Indiana has had, by its standards, not a very good season. It has made the NCAA tournament, I think, every season since 11 or 12. And it is in danger of missing I don't know if I said the Big Ten tournament. It's made the Big Ten tournament every season since 11 or 12. It's in danger of not making the Big Ten tournament this year. This is a big series for Indiana also. I would expect that Purdue will get the Hoosiers that shot. And so, if you're Purdue, Purdue's not in a situation where it can expect to coast these last 2 weekends and get in the NCAA tournament. It's got to win games and play its way in rather than play its way out.
Kyle, you've been the play-by-play broadcaster here for 22 years. You've seen at least one Purdue team make the NCAA tournament. Are there any similarities between those teams that you've seen succeed in this team, or is there something that's different about this team? What do you think is, I guess, kind of helping this team have the successful season it's had so far?
Purdue's made the tournament twice during my era in 12, which was expected. Purdue was the best team in the Big Ten. It was the best team in the preseason in the conference, and it played like the best team the whole way through, and then made the NCAA tournament as a host, even though it didn't get to host at Purdue because its new stadium was not yet completed, and the old stadium literally was torn down the day after the regular season ended. That 12 team was expected. Like, we knew that they were very good. Had 3 major league players on that squad. And then some other guys who were very good collegiate baseball players. The 18 team that made the NCAA tournament was not expected. In fact, Purdue was a middle of the pack team, maybe at best, through the middle of that season. Had a home series that it just got absolutely boat raced by Minnesota, a very good Minnesota team. I think got outscored in 3 games, 46-15. I mean, it was crazy. And you're just like, what is going? This team is done. Like, they're cooked. And then go to Maryland, and I'm watching that practice before that trip to Maryland. I'm like, this team is just a bunch of knuckleheads, and they don't want to be here. And then you go out there and they sweep Maryland at Maryland, and then they win like, I don't know, however many, what was it, 12 games in a row or whatever it was, and man, ended up making it to the championship game of the Big Ten tournament. Lost to Minnesota, not like 15-2 like it had at home, but like 5-3 or whatever the score was, and made the NCAA tournament. Won a game in North Carolina. This team this year reminds a little bit of that team, and that 18 team had a bunch of guys that were grinders and gamers and sort of had an attitude and those things that showed up in practice. But then when they got between the white lines, you really could turn it on. So I think this is a little bit similar to that team that really just caught fire and got a lot of confidence and carried that into the postseason. It was fun in 18, and it's been fun again this year.
Before we let you go, Kyle, real fast, tell us a little bit about Coach Goff.
He's great. I think the guys like him. I think that he relates to the players well. I think that he really cares about their success, and I think that shows. Now, he's not a pushover by any means either. He'll get into them if he feels like they're not doing something the right way. He's big on the game is to be played in a certain way. Things like you run out ground balls to first base. You run out pop-ups to first base, all of those things. And you see it when Purdue plays. Like, if you're watching closely, you'll see all that little stuff. And it matters. Purdue beats teams that don't execute. Even if you're talented, Purdue will beat you if you do not execute. And that has shown up a ton this year. Purdue will force you into mistakes. It's aggressive on offense. It will run. It will move batters. It'll go first to third on an outfield hit. And that sort of pressure at times will rattle teams. And, it's GG's style to try to keep teams off balance. And his teams play that way. I think that he and Purdue embraces sort of the underdog mentality and going out there and proving people wrong and knowing that it might not have all the 5-tool guys out there, but it's got guys who are going to go out there and do battle. So they sort of emulate the head coach, and this coaching staff too, I think, is a good mix and really has, something here with Barrett Serrato and Josh Newman and Jimmy Brenneman. It really likes that mix that it has, and I think it's been a good combination for the Boilermakers here the last couple of years, and really it's started to come together this year.
Kyle, thank you so much for your time. Where can we and our listeners find you on social media, and also how can we start listening to these games?
I'm on Twitter X at Kyle Charters 79, where I talk a little bit of baseball there occasionally. And also then the games are streaming on PurdueSports.com on the schedule there, and also on the Purdue Sports app. We're also on the Varsity Sports Network as well, so you can find the broadcast in those 3 places.
Kyle, thanks again so much. We really appreciate it. Hopefully we can talk again as Purdue progresses through the Big Ten and the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's always fun to talk a little bit of baseball, especially when the Boilermakers are playing well.
Thanks so much to Jake, as always, for joining me. And an extra special thanks to Kyle Charters for coming on and talking some Purdue baseball with us. Of course, we're also talking Purdue baseball over on the 10-Minute Report, our 10-minute daily report, featuring the Boilermakers, IU, the Pacers, Colts, IndyCar, local colleges, and local high schools. 10 minutes every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Please go check it out. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.